Running on an empty tank. Stop functioning like a robot, living through burnout. What if I told you you could become mindful of your God given tools and reach higher levels of success? Let's face it, we wake up, we go to work, we sleep, and then we are exhausted because we're running the wrong script. I worked with a girl years ago who described her life as being a wash cycle. She felt like she was constantly being tossed back and forth underwater, couldn't breathe, and just constantly going back and forth with no real destination. She came from a single family, so that was her, a single mother. And so that was her reasoning for thinking that her life is always going to be a struggle because she was well familiar with the struggle. That was that experience, right? It doesn't have to be hers. When I met her, she said that she didn't feel like she fit in anywhere. She was a beautiful lady, but she didn't feel like she was because when she was 6 or 7 years old, the kids pointed at her and they made fun of her and they just didn't accept her. So she spent her whole life trying to fit in. She had worked at all sorts of jobs. She worked retail, healthcare, corporate, fast food. She was just bouncing because she said she was always trying to fit in and she was just going back and forth, not knowing who she really was. She was only familiar with receiving rejections, criticism, and disappointments. She compared herself to others, and we have to remember, you are created to be you. Don't compare yourselves to others because you'll never be them and they'll never be you. And of course, with her comparing herself to others, she never measured up to them in her eyes. So it just added to her disappointments, right? She was living on a repeated cycle of burnout, running the wrong script. Her anger, the burnout turned into anger, then her anger turned into rage, and then she was just functioning like a robot. And she finally she was fed up. So she came for help and she decided that she needed much more. And when we started, when I started speaking with her, it was as if she described it, someone opened the lid for her and she was able to stand up on her own 2 feet and get out of the dirty water and stop the cycle of going back and forth, back and forth. She was able to do the work on herself. And now she's living a wonderful life. She runs a business. Even through the pandemic, her business just kept flourishing and growing and growing and growing. So she runs a wonderful business. She tells her story. She uses her story to inspire others. And her business, again, is just booming, right? So we just need to stand up and take control of our lives. If you are ready to tune into the script that was intended for you to run in your life, if you're serious about wanting to experience a totally different level of success, hit the link below.